Let's be real. Relationships are supposed to be life-giving. They should bring joy, comfort, and a sense of belonging. But sometimes, instead of feeling safe and cherished, you feel drained, anxious, and even afraid. If you're in a toxic relationship, whether it's with a partner, a family member, or even a friend, it can feel like there's no way out, like you're just caught in a cycle of pain and confusion. And yet, God never intended for His children to live that way. The truth is, God's design for relationships is rooted in love, respect, and peace. He never meant for you to be manipulated, for you to feel diminished or even abused. In 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 33, the Bible tells us, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace." And that means if your relationship is constantly leaving you walking on eggshells, questioning your worth, or feeling unsafe, it's not aligned with God's will for your life. Love from God's perspective is meant to be nurturing, not harmful. Think about it. If God created love, He created it as something beautiful and life giving. Toxic relationships, on the other hand, are demanding and drain your energy. Toxic relationships wear you down mentally, emotionally, and physically. And often the confusion comes because toxic relationships can feel so familiar. Maybe your partner criticizes you and says, "You know, I'm just joking." Or a family member uses guilt to control you. Sometimes we even stay in these abusive relationships because we hope that things will change or because we believe that we could fix the other person. But that's never the truth. Love does not hurt in the way toxic relationships hurt. Love does not diminish your identity. Love does not make you feel like you're not enough. So, how do we navigate this from a faith perspective? Well, first, you must recognize the signs. Toxicity often shows up as consistent patterns of disrespect, manipulation, control, or emotional abuse. If you find yourself constantly anxious, fearful, or questioning your self worth because of how somebody treats you, that's a red flag. And the scriptures encourage discernment. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." Guarding your heart doesn't mean shutting yourself off from love. It means protecting your peace and aligning yourself with God's truth about how love should really look. Next, remember that God calls us to set boundaries. Boundaries are not unbiblical. They are actually necessary for healthy relationships. Jesus himself set boundaries when he withdrew from crowds to pray, when he corrected the Pharisees with the truth, and even when he rebuked Peter to redirect him towards God's will. Setting boundaries in a toxic relationship is not selfish. It's an act of obedience to God and self-respect. You might need to limit contact, speak up clearly about what is unacceptable, or in some cases, remove yourself entirely from the relationship. Now, it's also important to seek support because toxic relationships thrive in isolation. It's really good to talk to a trusted friend, family, or a faith leader who can provide wisdom, accountability, and encouragement on the matter. It's said that healing often happens in community, and God often speaks through the people who love us well. In Galatians 6 and verse 2, it says, "Carry each other's burden, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." And this means you don't have to go through pain alone by yourself. God has designed us for connection, yes, but for connection that uplifts, not connection that destroys. Prayer is another powerful tool. When you feel trapped or overwhelmed, bring your heart to God. Pour out your fears, your pain, and your doubts. Ask for clarity, strength, and courage. Because James chapter 1 and verse 5 also reminds us that if we lack wisdom, we can ask God, and he will give it generously. God's guidance can clear the path that seems impossible to see on your own. You may discover that removing yourself from the relationship is not only necessary, but life-giving. Finally, remember your worth. Toxic relationships often erode self-esteem and distorts your identity, but scripture reminds us that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. God sees your value even when others cannot or will not. He calls you to walk in dignity, respect, and peace, and He provides you with the ability to do so. So surround yourself with those reminders of your worth, scriptures, affirmations, and relationships that honor you. So if you are feeling trapped in a toxic relationship today, know this: there is hope. You are not alone, and you don't have to endure confusion, manipulation, or abuse. That is not God's will for your life. Healing begins with recognizing the truth about God's love and embracing the courage to act on it. Boundaries, support, prayer, and self-worth. These are not just survival tools. They are pathways to the abundant, peaceful relationships God intends for you. You deserve relationships that lift you, honor you, and reflect the love God has for you. So take a deep breath. Step forward with faith. Seek wisdom, protect your heart, and trust that God, the author of peace, is guiding you into the kind of love that restores, uplifts, and sets you free. So thank you for spending this time with me. And if anything in this video spoke to your heart, I'd love for you to hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. Remember, you're not walking this path alone. We're in this together. So until the next time, take care of your heart. And I'll see you in the next video.